What's going on, world? It's your boy at Big Game James _36. And this is Den Media Groups presents the basically FSU Weekend ReCap. As I always tell people, a lot of things can happen over the course of 72 hours. You have no idea what's going to go down. And we've had a pretty good time, and I haven't really done anything FSU specific on the channel. So we decided to be able to get into it. So if you're watching this on X, please, you can feel free to say whatever you want to say on X, but this is a YouTube show, so I need you to come over to YouTube. Make sure you present in there so that anybody doesn't get offended. Realize this is how we talk. We have a good time. It's all love here, spreading Seminole cheer. Outside of Bobby, Bobby's is a good cane. He can come in or whatever. But we'll talk about some things that I happen to have really, really good insight on, and with some news, and we'll give you some information that is for your eyes. And we'll probably speak a little bit in code because as some of these situations are currently getting worked out, but at the same time, we're going to bring up our special guest as we have my guy Chris Frazier with Sporadics Media. Hopefully, you guys are following him over at that channel. We're both in a race to try to get to 5,000 subs. He's a lot closer than I am, but it's really more so just we're all trying to hit goals. We're probably the few people who really don't compete. We really would rather see everybody eat and win, which is how it's supposed to be. And then we've got my guy, George, with Renegade Report, who's 59 subs to 2,000. I remember what that was like. Please, everybody, go and give him a follow as he's pretty close to that. I hope we get Jen. Did you send Jen the link, George?
Yeah, I just sent it to her. I didn't realize she didn't have it, so she should be here in just a minute.
Okay. So hopefully we'll have Jen on here as well relatively shortly. Try to get these things going on. But before we get into what it is to get into, as I said, for those guys, I'm 500 subs away from 5,000. You understand, once we get to 5,000, we give away 10% in cash to the subscribers live on Big Games BS. So we'll give away $500 and a secondary cash prize. Let's continue to grow the channel with the goal of getting to 10,000 subs by the end of the year, so we can continue to do a bunch of fun things. It feels like if you feel like you just seen all of us, we were all just on. Shout out to Jeff. For another 5 memberships that are going to be gifted randomly. We have no control over where those goes, but I appreciate the generosity. We got the Amazonian Memphis Queen
in the building.
Jen in the building. But as we kind of just get through all of this, I guess we say our formalities and then we can get into what we're doing. So, Chris, how's your day been?
Pretty busy. Just got off the phone with the reason I had to get off the live with him is I was on the phone with Rob Scott and DJ and a couple other people from the team wise, just chopping up about some of the people that was there and who they hosted and all this other stuff.
Awesome. So get some good information here. What's going on with you, George? How are you doing?
Man, fired up. Like you said, you was just on with us. We had Tiny Hat on with us as well. Chris was there, so everybody go check that out. But just excited to be part of the family, man. Like when we talked about this earlier. And we're going up against the NFL. I didn't realize that really. I didn't even think about it. But yeah, man, 4 hours of FSU content and excited to get this going.
Yeah, I'm glad we had your show, though, because I'm not even going to lie to you. I fell asleep on the bus. I was tired. It wasn't really that the game was boring. I was just sleepy, even though I have to go do the news tonight to talk about the NFL. And all I know is the Lions won. And I do know that. And I know the Packers choked and, other things of that nature. So what's going on, Jen? How are you living today, ma'am?
Hey, I'm good. How are you guys?
Good. I am excited. I am ready for what this next quarter is going to bring. I looked at my schedule. February is going to be from February to the end of March is going to be interesting. So we have this Super Bowl. Then I'm going to go take a vacation, even though I'm probably going to still work while on vacation. I'll be on a boat going somewhere. Then I come back for a week. Then I go to the combine. Then I come back from the combine to a lacrosse trip. To come back from the lacrosse trip to go on my kid's spring break somewhere where I'm going to be spending money that I don't necessarily have. So, but I'm excited about that. Super Bowl should be great. But before we get into that, we'll have the month of the rest of January where we'll be hosting junior days and maybe some random recruits as the actual national signing day comes to us the first Wednesday in February. Florida State had a commitment. A kid who's technically only going to sign a sheet of paper, if I remember correctly, as he's a walk-on, but he's a 4-star quarterback from out of Orlando Jones High School. Seems to be a pretty good athlete, be a project, but it's never a bad thing when you add when your floor is walk-ons with high stars. What do you guys think about adding that potential piece to our quarterback room that actually seems now to be pretty loaded?
I think it says a lot about what Tony Tokarts and Mike Norvell are doing in the quarterback room to get that type of talent as a walk-on to come in at Florida State when you've got someone like Luke Kromenhawk that just, both of them performed very well at the Elite 11. Obviously, Luke performed a little bit better, but you can't knock the young man. And I think I think it breathes success out of the quarterback room at Florida State based off of what Mike and Tony Tokarts and also Alex Atkins. I think that the offensive line showmanship of what we're going to have for years to come is going to really help.
Yeah, I agree, man. I love it. Like you said, he was at the Elite 11. I think he won the rail shot challenge. So the arm strength is there. Just needs to be developed. I think, he didn't get quite the stats you would like to his senior year. So that's kind of where the ranking is what it is. But I think it's great. You get an athlete. I think he had like 10 rushing touchdowns his senior year. Talk about a dude to have as a walk-on for your scout team for this coming up year. And to battle it out with Luke and make things go. I'm super excited and can't wait to see him get here. I think it's awesome.
I'm going to add this in because he's definitely a greenie, and I like those guys. Nick Snyder asked a question. Do you all know how stadium construction will affect the season? I guess we can get off topic slightly with that as we go back to it. But we're going to host 7 games, I believe, right? 7 home games. So it doesn't really affect it that much per se. It's just like, I got to renew my tickets. Just you can't sit on that side anymore. And that's the home. It's traditionally been the home sideline. I'd expect them to maybe flip it maybe a little bit now so that you can still get more of that feel. My tickets will now be on the visitor sideline or in the end zones. But the end zones and all those things are taken, like everything is still there. The press box will still be on that side. It's really just, I think, 50 rows up that will be affected by that. So we'll still be able to have games. We'll still be able to do all the different things. So that's at least my knowledge to it. If anybody have anything else other than that?
Well, it does. It's caused the spring game location to have to move and stuff like that. I don't know about the season, but there will be some dynamics and stuff. Isn't that right, Chris?
No, I mean we're still playing the spring game in Doak.
Not playing it, but like, isn't it going to be like a lot 5 or something instead of?
Oh, you're talking about our tailgate?
Yeah.
Oh no, that doesn't. The stadium construction has nothing to do with that. We just always. I can't afford lot 5 during the season. That's real money. Like that's And if I had that kind of money, I'm going to be Nevin Shapiro, or I would get hit with the clause of driving kids around. Like I'm going to pay for a championship if I have enough money to be able to afford 10 lot 5 spaces. But it's kind of cool because it's a little bit closer to the stadium, and we can have a little bit different it's a different vibe. Obviously it's a lot more fun, but lot 19 is just different. It's a different energy. But that's the only thing. And every spring game we've done this, and I think we did this since Tag's first season. So this is going into year 5 of Norvell. So we've done these 6 of the last 7 years. So like that's going to just be what we have. But for the most part, the stadium, like I think it's supposed to be 420. Hopefully they'll make an official announcement here soon. And then as soon as they make an official announcement, I'm going to put up we'll put up the link for the tailgate. But shout out to Bobby, our favorite Kane, gifting 5 memberships as well. Again, random memberships, so appreciate it. So if you're listening to Twitter X and you have a YouTube channel or subscription, come check it out. You might be able to be gifted a membership as long as you have. I think you have to have something flipped on your YouTube channel to be able to accept that. But moving in, if it's not hosting recruits to sign for National Signing Day, it's about bringing guys for multiple junior days and in multiple multi-day visits, things of that nature. This past weekend, we had quite a few guys come to Tallahassee to be able to do not multi-day visits, but also do our junior day on Saturday, where they got a chance to take in our basketball team deciding that they wanted to revert back to how they were. We lost, but do Chris or George or Jen, do you guys have a list of some of the notable guys that we had here and kind of just what the overall feedback and the thoughts were?
I do, but
you go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, Zion Grady for me is like, hello. Yes, please. I know he has a lot of suitors and maybe we get him, maybe we don't, but the other one is, of course, Jamie French, guys. Jamie French, hello. We need him. And the linebacker, what's his name? Travion Williams, is that right?
Wallace. Yeah.
Wallace. Yes. Those are my 3. So anybody else, y'all go ahead.
Yeah, I really like this 4-star defensive lineman, Jalen Wiggins. He's a Florida commit, but Florida State's been working on him really heavily for quite some time now. I think he's a potential one. And then you've got 6'5" defensive lineman. It's Trajan Odom. I really like him as well. But the linebacker and Travion Wallace, I really like him. And then as long as his kid shows up, I'll never not say his name. And Tramell Jones showing up from the quarterback position at Mandarin High School, which I can't speak more on him than the guy to the left of me. But him and Jamie French was a big deal for them being there. I don't know 100% if Stubbs showed up or not. I think he was somewhere else, but I could be wrong. But there was some offensive linemen that I like that were there as well. But I was told to keep them nameless, so I'm going to keep them nameless.
Right.
Love it. I think the only name I didn't hear maybe was Zayden Walker, I believe made it down, the 5-star linebacker, I believe out of South Carolina. What's the guy's name? We recruited his cousin or his brother, ended up committing to South Carolina, but a big time player. If we could get him, that's it. Julius Solomon. That's right. I keep wanting to say Solomon Thomas, but yeah, Julius Solomon. The work they've done, the work there. We'll see what happens, but yeah, I would love to get Tavion Wallace. If you've heard me talk about Randy Shannon, the kind of linebacker situation, it's been that he's just kind of really rigid in his sizes. So if you want to look up Tavion Wallace and see where he fits in, I mean, it would be a slam dunk, and it really fits into what Randy Shannon wants to do and the guys he wants to bring in. So that was really awesome seeing him. And of course, like Jen said, Zion Grady, it's another benefit of Bama losing Saban. That's that much of a better chance to recruit a guy because, you're like in second place. Bama goes away. All of a sudden, a lot of these guys, Florida State was in second place before they can all of a sudden take a lead on. And I definitely want to hear as much as we can get about the Mandarin guys from our guy James as possible.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely had the duo of Jamie French and Tramell. Jamie was on a multi-day visit. He came over on Friday, checked out tour duty. We all linked up. And then Tramell came over on Saturday as well. And recruiting is getting high, which is one of the things which made our recruiting pretty good last year. Even when we took the hit toward the end, we started off pretty hot. We were going good, had a lot of traction, hosted a lot of people, a lot of big time guys came on junior days. I remember Miami had the big June. I think we had the fireworks on the 4th of July as we posted it and just really never turned it back outside of losing a few battles. KJ Bolden, losing Armando Blunt, but as I tell people, if we get Amari Williams, which I believe we will, we really didn't lose much on that. But kind of moving forward with the same strategy, but really heavy focus on the trenches. We've done so well in the skill positions the last few years that we really we'll probably only take 2 wide receivers in this class. With a lot. So that being said, we can put a lot of energy on the guys that we view to be the best guys. So that your Jamie Frenches, even he's going to come back for, at least per his dad. He's going to come back in the summertime with Lorenzo Booker's son, who's who's a 4-star wide receiver out of California in the 2025 class as well. So, I know I want Jamie to be at Florida State as well. But if we lose Jamie, there's still a lot of very talented wide receivers coming in. And actually, they'll come to Jacksonville the next few years. There's a young man out of Bowles High School who's in the class of 2026 who's very, very talented, who I believe had just under 1,000 yards receiving as well. But and I'll get back to Jamie and Tramel here, but we also had CJ Wiley. He came in really big wide receiver. The trenches, Lamar Williams, Zion Grady. Got to be able to get the Jalen Wiggins kid, especially with him being in your backyard. Really smart kid from out of Rickards High School. Somebody that we got to – it makes absolutely no sense how we would lose a battle like that to Florida. Trajan Odom, another trench guy. It looks like, again, early on, heavy emphasis on really trying to dig into the trenches to be able to change some of the things that we wanted. But one of the things that was interesting on the recruitment of Jamie French, and it's something to watch on. Jamie's had a really wild 2 weeks in his life, and I always tell people he's still a young man. So he went from losing his wide receiver coach and literally not being told about his wide receiver coach even leave. I think he found out about his wide receiver coach leaving by me when I told him, "Have you heard?" And then a week later, I believe, or maybe almost 2 weeks later, is when Saban made the announcement, and that's when he basically made his decommitment after meeting with Coach Norvell. So emotionally, he's kind of like in a wild place because, again, Saban. I know a little bit more about the Saban commitment now. While people were preparing for it to happen over the next couple of years, what really made it a little bit faster was, it was some more personal issues at home. There's some things, there are some rumors. His wife's not in as good a health as she had been once. And so my man wants to be home with his wife. I ain't mad at it. She's been ride or die for him. So but having that happen, Jamie's kind of like, all right, let me go reopen my recruitment. And you've got the major players right now are Ohio State, Georgia, and us at Florida State, whereas relationships have been really the key with us while others are kind of leading a little bit with extracurricular things, like things that matter, always matter. But as I told him and his family, don't worry about that. That will be taken care of at Florida State as well. But what was interesting is there's a lot of ties in Tallahassee to Jacksonville, and Jamie stayed, and Jamie got hit with some some information from some guys that wasn't too nice. It wasn't what we wanted to hear. So when people say that we're just sitting in first place, I like our chances as things move on. But Florida State has got to be able to find that wide receiver in recent history that Jamie can probably relate to, that Jamie can see himself in, and currently that's just not being done. And that's no fault of the staff, but that's probably about as deep as I can get into that. That kind of caught people out of left field. But Dugans and Mike, I'll say this. Mike smooth. So Friday at tour duty, Jamie comes a little late. Tour duty started at 4. Jamie probably showed up about 4:30. So all the other recruits that were doing multi-day visits have been greeted. Mike had also got a chance to do all of the drills, and everything's kind of coming to a side, right? So when Jamie walks up, it looks like Mike stopped everything he was doing and came right over to Jamie and like made sure Jamie knew he was seen. And I was just like, man, you a smooth motherfucker, Mike. Like that was really, really cool. So but that's the big thing with French. I'm not saying to not be optimistic. We're definitely far from out of it, but I'm telling you, like right now, don't like we are definitely not just he's not ours to lose at this point, right? We need some other chips to fall, and before people are like, don't come at me. I mean, I'm not paid to recruit Jamie French, but I'm here to tell Jamie, as a fan of Jamie, that I know he'll be fine at Florida State. Trammell is going to they're going to be on a lot of trips this year. Both of them played for South Florida Express. They'll be on a couple of tournaments together. And I think he'll be I think Trammell will probably keep saying, hey, let's keep this thing going as we continue to press forward. So that's kind of the update on the Jamie French and Trammell thing. And as I kind of told, like, I didn't want to say it, like Florida, like, what did you say? The reach around, Chris? That Florida, like, I don't know what the fuck Florida. Like, Florida found some chick to do something strange to Drake to make him want to just fall in love with. Because that one caught me out of left field right there for Drake to be so smitten by Austin Armstrong but University of Florida is showing them hella love right now. But I think when games get played, guys continue to do a really good job of showing what they're able to do and what they're able to not do. I think we'll see Florida State being really good standing with the Mandarin trio. So I'm looking forward to that.
A few people that or two really. There was a tight end that showed up to junior day on Saturday. 2025 tight end Hollis Davidson. I like that kid a lot. I really like what he brings to the table. And then even though they've got him ranked as a 3-star, I think that changes. I think he should already be ranked a 4-star. As Christian Hudson as a defensive tackle. That's in my eyes, a must get for Florida State, but that's just what I see. And then we've got the 4-star wide receiver, Vernell Brown. I like him a lot as well. He had his entire family with him. Usually when guys bring their entire family, it's usually pretty good signs of a good coaching staff recruiting at a high level. And I think that Dugans does a phenomenal job. Ever since he landed Hakeem Williams, I think he feels himself the way that he should. He's got the confidence that he needs to recruit these other guys. And I think it's really starting to work out for him. Vendrevious Jacobs was a big get for him in the same class as Hakeem. So a lot of the wide receivers are filling Dugans and filling what Mike Norvell's doing as far as offensive play calling goes. I don't want to go into this too, but I don't want our fan base to get disappointed because we're going to have a good class, a really good class. In my eyes, the best class that Mike will land so far as the head coach at Florida State. Right now, 24 class is the best class, ranking-wise, that he's landed. But the needs that Florida State's going to have in 2025 are being addressed in the manner that they should be, and that's offensive line, defensive line, and linebacker. You're going to see a multitude of offensive linemen taken, which will give you a top 2 or 3 offensive line class. Your defensive line class will be somewhere in the top 5. And then your linebacker class may not ever make it to the top 2 or 3, and that's just based off of the measurables that Randy Shannon wants to go after. He has a particular size, and so happens Traven is 6'1", 205, 210 pounds, and he fits the measurables. And luckily for us, he's a 4-star because once we land someone like that, that's the body type that Randy goes after, regardless of what star they are. He is what he is, but been telling people for the past 2 years, Don't look for an offensive line class in 2024. Don't look for a defensive line class in 2024. I mean, we didn't do it in 2023 either. Yeah, you're right. We are strategically moving away with not just money, but we're moving in a way of when we're going to need these guys to be here, available, and then ready to go in what year. And that's what Alex Atkins is going to be doing in the 2025 class. Yes, I'm very aware that he has sanctions. Yes, I'm very aware of what's been said. Atkins ain't moving any different than he was before. I'm just going to be
not giving kids rides.
Just not giving them rides.
Yeah.
I did ask Atkins. Did they say that it was because you did it with a motor vehicle? Like if you'd have gave him a ride with the pedicab guy and Atkins would have kindly been riding, I think that's a loophole. So I told him if you're going to give him a ride, just do it on the pedicab. Like it's not.
We got the guy. We got the guy to do it, man. Let's do it. As far as the recruiting, I think you hit on a great point. I think people need to realize Mike and this staff do not give two shits about their recruiting rankings. They're going to go get the guys. Like if the best guys for them are high school guys that year, they're going to get them. Like Chris was alluding to, if you need help that year at the end, you're going to go get guys out of the portal at the end. They're looking at this thing to get the very best players each and every year. And yeah, this year it's trenches, and I'm pumped up about the trench. I think the skill players, it's not like Chris said, it's not going to be 4 or 5 studs, or you're not going to have a DB class with 6 blue chips or anything like that. But I think that part will take care of itself just because of being in Florida and being surrounded by it. So I think hopefully people will be happy enough with it, because I think you end up with a top 5 class by the time you mix the trenches in there. But yeah, they're going to get who they need. If it may be another 10 portal guys next year, it may be 4 if that's what they need. But yeah, they're just going to go get the best player they can get that year, and it doesn't make a shit where they come from, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, without a doubt. And that's really what it all comes down to is people have a type. We may not agree. We may want others. We may want other ingredients. But at the end of the day, I always tell them the goal is to win. It's not to be the prettiest or to have the highest thing. I mean, if we look in traditionally speaking, even look at Michigan, the team that won the national championship this year did not have the most consistent top 10 recruiting classes. They've had a top 10 here or there, but hell, they didn't even finish high this year. You look at Ohio State, who's had a lot of it. They've got dominated by Michigan the last few years. Miami has, I always joke with people, tell me when Miami hasn't recruited well. I believe the one bad class Miami had was when they fired Mark Ritt. They let Manny leave, then they got rid of Mark Ritt. Guys didn't know what the hell was going on, and they left. Now Georgia, Alabama have done it at a high level, but they also have guys who are extremely good coaches, extremely good motivators. Extremely that understand, but they're still recruiting their type of person. They have the dogs that are around them. And even when you look at some of the better players that they've had, they've been 3 stars. I'm not telling you, I'm not the guy that says, give me a team full of 3 stars with heart. I just say, give me a team full of guys who are really, really good. And also, since COVID, we have not had an accurate way to be able to measure and determine the recruiting rankings. I believe it's first 3 to 4 years, well, at least the first 3 years, post-COVID, 2020, 21, and 22, you saw guys maybe get reached for a little bit. And why you see so many people in the transfer portal is because there are guys who probably should have been FCS caliber guys that are at Power 5s because they were bigger than everybody else their freshman and sophomore years. And guys didn't want to go, they didn't have the opportunities to go reevaluate and drop them down in a ranking. Conversely, maybe some of these guys that we see coming from lower levels, coaches did not have the energy or the funds to be able to go see, or the opportunities to be able to go see these kids. So they had to go take a lower level scholarship, and they just outperformed and dominated at their level. That would be my theory in that. So I think as we move forward, things will kind of shake themselves out, balance themselves out. And but you'll always see this portal recruitment, high school recruitment type of strategy that will be taken. But I personally believe Florida State will have a smaller class in 25 than they've had in 24 and 23, strictly because it's going to be very, very high quality. And at the end of the day, I think our fans have to realize the goal is to win games. The goal is not to win recruiting ranking games. Until they're flying banners for that, then you know, I don't really know what else to say with that. Oh shoot! Shout out to Adrian for being for gifting 5 more memberships. I appreciate that. Moving forward, and looking at this, so we had a Harvard offensive lineman come in on a visit. Do you have any intel on that, Chris, about how that might have went, or is this going to be like the kid from Furman who basically comes in, realize I'm pretty smart and have a good damn degree. I might just quit football and just win in life.
So what I will say is I hope that's what happens. I'm not trying to knock no kid. I'm really not. I'm not trying to knock no kid at all. But he's being looked at because of how smart he is, not because of how well he blocks. And I understand he has size that I think Atkins could work with, but he's a multi-year project, and we don't have multiple years to waste on that project, to be honest. But I'm also not Atkins, and Atkins has done things with guys I didn't think would pan out here. But this one is like a reach. Like I don't see anything promising play-wise. He played at Harvard, for God's sakes. Like, it is what it is. I don't think the recruiting rankings messed up when he was recruited. What I mean by that is there were some FCS guys that got in the FBS. I can understand that. But there's no way that an Ivy League kid was just overlooked. He ended up where he was supposed to be. And then I want people to remember this. Yes, here the Miami troll starts. Mike is not interested in the recruiting ranking wins so that he can motorboat the players like Mario Cristobal does, because it's Mario Crystal Tits, man. That's what he is. He motorboats guys, and they for some reason like it. I don't know if he's a he, she, a she, he, or I don't know. I don't really care what they do down in Coral Gables, Coral Gables University. It's the Coral Gables. What do they call it? The coconut brawl. That's what you got with him. Mario Crystal Tits is what he is, I can't. Like, Catapult really has to do this endorsement deal. I'm telling y'all, I told him that you have to get this Catapult man brawl deal done with Mario Crystal Tits, because it literally will make one of the greatest endorsement deals ever, because he already wears them. He, honest to God, does. Like, people don't want to believe me, but this man wears a boob binder. I don't know if y'all have ever seen women try to hide their boobs. But Mario was doing the exact same thing, and it's not working as well for him. But I don't know that he heard me. But when I said that, what is Mario coming here shaking his titties about? Because you could literally hear them clapping with each other.
Them kids are supposed to hear BBLs clapping, and Chris is telling us that it's Mario's titties.
That's what it was. And like, even a reporter laughed out loud. You can hear it.
Oh my God.
If you go back and watch the press conference, he literally comes in, and when he does his arm like this, his boobs do that. And then the guy starts laughing and says, well, moving on. And then Billy, like I told people, you got to be really careful when you go to Florida. The reach around's a real thing. I don't know who's performing it, but it is happening. Be very careful with your children, your young men, going around either one of them.
That's funny.
Yeah, Jalen Wiggins, we got to get him away from that for sure. I feel like that was one of those ones where Billy just found a guy who maybe was not getting pursued, maybe just, this or that, and just offered him the world, gave him all the love. That the timing of his commitment was like a big PR thing for them. Like, they needed a win. So yeah, I wouldn't doubt it one bit if once the wins start piling up, we can get him here over on our sides. And also to tack on what you were saying about we haven't had a way to measure. Yeah, we damn sure haven't. And whoever comes up with, like, okay, this is your portal ranking, you're number 1, okay, you're number 16 in high school. When they put that together and come up with that overall ranking, it does not match up. Like last year we had like a top 3 portal class and the numbers like 18 high school. It only brought us 1 spot. So yeah, they have no idea how to figure this thing yet. And one person who does is Mike Norvell, and I'll continue trusting his evaluations because the hit rate is insane.
One of the things, and Hayes Fawcett is the king of this, and or the Pete Oikos guy or whatever his name is. He loves to bring up guys with the portal. So, and then since we're talking about Miami, congratulations to them. Miami now officially has the first person on their roster to have an ACC championship. So that would be a cool thing. They got former Florida State running back Rodney Hill, who chose them over, who just recently decommitted from FAMU to be able to go over to the University of Miami. I forgot who it was, but they posted about the quality of transfers they're bringing in versus those who transferred out. I believe we have a 91 ranking or 0.91, whatever it is, ranking of guys coming in from the portal, and 61 for those who are leaving out to go into the portal. What is there? You might have any comments on this? I actually saw a fan who I really wanted to curse him bad, and I pulled back. I did not, because I think in their heart they were doing something that they felt was right. But I hate when people throw let's be classy around like to me, and I'm like, I didn't even say anything bad about this. But what are our thoughts on I actually think Rodney Hill is a pretty good running back, even though I've seen Miami fans actually troll Rodney Hill while he was a member of Florida State. But I think Miami's running back room is probably like he'll be third or fourth running back in that room, which would have been similar to what he would have been here. But are there any thoughts on this particular transfer that you guys care to share?
I mean, congrats to Miami. I mean, they got who I've been told someone was said to leave. I mean, whether he left on his own or he was told to leave, regardless of which one happened. He picked FAMU before you, but congratulations, you ended up with him. FAMU's head coach did leave and go to Duke with your first Cuban lover. And now he's, they're taking guys that we let go. And, he's going to be teammates with a guy that's still on NCAA 2014. And he's going to be playing this year. So, I mean, hey, maybe you can get 9 years out of Rodney Hill. I don't know. I don't know how you get 9 years of eligibility. Don't know how it works. But their tight end at Miami is literally the only active player that is on NCAA 2014 and still playing college football.
Yeah, it's unreal. Like James said, I'm not going to pile on the kid. We've been making hints for weeks, guys. If you haven't picked up on it, these exit interviews are tough. Like a lot of these guys, they're leaving for reasons. It's not money like everybody makes out. Whatever the case may be, he left. My thing with Miami signing him is it's just hilarious because it flies in the face of what they put out as a recruiting department, as their people. Like Gabby's always writing these articles and stuff. It's like, oh, well, you're not playing true freshman. You're playing your this and you're that. Okay, well, their big thing is, oh, well, y'all are bringing all these transfers that are backups and this and stuff and that. Y'all are getting second and third string. We're getting starters. And it's like, okay, well, now you literally just signed a third or fourth string guy that got processed out. So, yeah, it's pretty funny. It goes in the face of everything they said. Same thing with the transfers. They've really had more. So it's just, you hate to lose them, but, it's not a big loss. You'd think he would have landed somewhere with a scholarship, but people have kind of tried to troll that PWO thing. But look, preferred walk on today might as well be paid walk on. I'm sure we'll talk about how we're going to make our roster work. So those trolls are lame. It is what it is. They got they got somebody that left. It'll be all right.
Yeah, I'm 100% sure that he's not paying for all of his all that Miami education. That is a very expensive school to go to. And I wish him nothing but success. Great degree. All jokes aside, good for him. Kudos. Wish him nothing but success on that. Shout out to SEC fans coming in here. Tennessee Brett. Don't know. I've always been curious to why, like, shout out to the Vols. Actually, like Tennessee would have been a school, one of those schools that I love to go. I went on an unofficial visit and I learned Rocky Top like that because they played it like over and over again. It's just funny when you see people from other like fan bases, they come in and they say stuff, and we really don't. I ain't got no quarrels with Tennessee outside of them beating us fair and square in the BCS championship. So hey.
They did beat us, but that was the last time they were relevant.
I think Jen is back. She was having headphone issues. There's Jen.
Jen's black.
That too.
Man.
That too. We can hear you, Jen. It's okay.
All right. I'm going to get out and get right back in, guys. I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on.
Nah, you're good. You're good. But one of the things that so we were talking about that. So the transfers that we have got in. I got a chance to see a lot of them at tour duty. So I got checked on tour duty. And with my tour duty, my teammate Gerard Ross is obviously there as an off-field recruiter. And we were laughing and joking about man, that intensity level, it ain't mat drills. But then he said, like, you can't do that. They can't do that anymore. You'll probably go to jail. These kids will quit. But I would say this. I think once they learn what's expected of them, it actually is a really good thing. I saw the freshman. Man, let me tell you about Luke K. Luke Cromahawk really, really looked good. Like, looks the part. As I tweeted out, one of the first things I put out was DJU. That's a big man right there. And somebody's like, pause. And I'm like, but he's like definitely a different caliber size of the quarterback that we've seen in quite some time. Farmer and Jackson look good. I saw a lot of the guys and they're good, moving pretty decent. The competition in the wide receiver room. So it was Benson and Brown going at it with some of the utility drills. And just the amount of explosiveness that you saw with them, it was great. And then, as my boy Angelo loves to put, one of my favorite terms, there was some large mammals out there getting after it. So out of all of the transfers that we've had in, and if you have a freshman that you just think will intrigue, who are some of the best gets that you've seen that you've seen so far?
I would have to say that Luke Cromahawk is probably one of my favorite gets. I think it's important that people know that Mike and Tony Tokarz was on him the very first team to offer him and all that. And that was before he was ranked. It's because he was playing safety and also wide receiver. He started 1 year as a quarterback. Kid's just a hell of an athlete. But I will say that I think Darrell Jackson found out after playing, the gauntlet of the Georgia game. He found out that he had some more work to do. And I was really impressed with how much work he put in, even in between that game and the point of starting tour of duty. I think that he's impressing the defensive line. He's becoming a leader, and Farmer and him are competing for that leadership role, and that's what makes it important. And then we haven't really seen him yet, but Cam Davis is going to be extremely special. He's a vocal leader, and he has no problem speaking to guys that are older than him, kind of lighting a fire under their ass. And he also knows how to do it on the field that gets them pushed forward. But in a multitude of guys that have came in are much more, how do I say this? Like, I can't compare them to 2 and 3 years ago. We have a lot more college-ready-ish bodies than we did previous when Mike first started recruiting. 23's class was about the first time I saw size that I could really say, hey, those guys, will be ready in a year. But this 24 class, I want to see Charles Lester put on some weight, but I don't think it's going to be hard for him to do in this particular nutrition program, also in the weight room with tour of duty. And I think that the best part of tour of duty that people miss out on is what runs a lot of these players off in the spring, believe it or not, is the mental aspect of what tour of duty is asking them to do, more so than the lifting of weights or the working out. That's not where it comes from. They do some military-like stuff mentally to these young men. And Storm's being a military guy, Mike being a military guy, it kind of makes sense. But KJ Sampson, which someone just brought up, I don't know what he's weighing exactly, but he's definitely a bigger person than he was in a good way. He's replaced, I want to say it was 12 pounds of maybe body fat with muscle. So that's extremely impressive. But, I mean, there's a lot of guys that I could point to and say, like that phone call that I just had with Rob Scott and DJ and them. And I will say this, where people this might not be popular for some people. DJ Lundy is taking things very personal. I think that this will be the best year we see out of him.
I think, and that's a good question. That's something that I've never even talked about, just the idea. And I'll probably chop it up with some of them offline. But two guys that you brought up was Farmer and Jackson. And one of the things that let me know, because there's still the talk. People really took offense to thing. What I always want to tell people is, a guy comes to the NFL. I think my mindset has changed a little bit. There's the game aspect of it, but then there's the business aspect of it. Never let the business aspect of it mess silly how you feel about the person who's playing. Unfortunately, the transfer portal and NIL is a part, whether you like it or not, is a part of the game. And people are going in a capitalistic society. People are going to try to get as much money as they can. And just like that, people are going to report on all of these very fluid moving parts. I'm not going to fault on 3 or whoever, 247 or whoever posted about them leaving. But at the same time, we don't have any documentation that Farmer tried to leave this year outside of somebody saying, I think they did, and I have a source that tells me. We do, however, have the Farmer family coming out and unilaterally saying that this is not true, to the effect that their older brothers created Twitter handles to go out and counteract this stuff that was being said about their little brother, which and since that time. Now, I told him straight up, if he's staying for a year, great. If he doesn't, you're going to look really, really stupid. But Farmer has done nothing but be what you want a teammate to be, including with Daryl Jackson. And the first person that Durajay came with was him, and they've been working out with Mark Lyles, who was their strength and conditioning coach when they were at East Gadsden, or Gadsden County High School, that's now the strength and conditioning coach at Lincoln High School. They've been doing it, getting after it, pouring in exactly what you want guys to be doing. And when you see them going around tour duty, like, it is constant movement. I'll say this: it ain't a lot of. And I think Angelo asked, "Are there drill sergeants?" No, it's your coaches. It's every coach, every strength and conditioning coach, and they're there getting a little get after it into their system, into their life. It ain't a lot of cursing out and stuff like that, but it's really them getting into it and getting after them. But it's constant movement, so
pushing them to that breaking point,
and that's really what it is. It's more mental than it ain't hard. It's nothing that you've never done, but at the same breath, it's like it ain't maths.
Yeah,
I can tell you it ain't mattress, but it is. I also ain't lining up to go do that shit either, so I can promise you that I'm not. While it ain't mat drills, I ain't going in there saying, "Coach, let me get in on this drill." Somebody asked, no cab asked, "What's the holdup with Farmer and TBE?" Just because they haven't made the announcement doesn't mean that the contract hasn't been signed. It's probably more likely done, or there aren't just what we traditionally know is our 1-year deals. Some of these guys do sign multi-year deals, so there might not be anything to announce. But I can tell you this much: if Farmer was going to bounce, he would have bounced at this point. Actually, what's crazy is I'm grateful he hasn't, because you know who would definitely pick him up right now. I know for a fact if he was in there, Bama would definitely try to get him.
Yeah.
You know, not saying that, you know, again, some programs that have FCC that FCC money would definitely be attractive to him right now. Matter of fact, I hope he ain't listening.
No, man. When you talk about players going forward, like Malik Benson for a transfer portal guy, y'all talked about it a little bit with his explosiveness in the tour duty. He's one I'm super excited about. And when you talk about Farmer, like we talked about it earlier on my show, I think it's Farmer number 6 Farmer's number 5, and Gerald Jackson took number 6. And you mentioned they're kind of competing for that leadership role. You don't mess around and pick number 5 and number 6 if you're not serious. Like you're gonna go single digit on the defensive line, especially the interior. Like you better put up or shut up. And yeah, I've seen some of them crazy one-legged box jumps he's been doing with like weights on his back and stuff. They're not fooling around. They're definitely getting after it. But yeah, Malik Benson is my guy as far as a transfer that I think could really explode. I just think he's just a different kind of explosive. I think people just don't realize because he had a quarterback who couldn't pass. They don't realize how good he is, and that's why he didn't get the snaps and stuff that he would have had if he was in a big passing offense. And even with the high schoolers, it's guys like B.J. Gibson that people don't think realize could be a guy who could possibly take the top off for you and get in, 5-10 snaps a game and maybe make some big plays for you as a freshman. Micah Hyde-Danzy too.
Can I say who I love?
Yeah, I was going to you next.
Okay. George, who is it? Who is my favorite commit in this class? I know you know who it is. I know it.
Are we talking transfer or high school?
High school.
High school. Favorite high school commit.
It's Ricky Knight, guys. It's Ricky Knight.
Oh my gosh,
yeah,
definitely.
Kid.
Sorry. You're absolutely right. She loves Ricky Knight. She's been high on him from the jump.
I love that kid.
Yeah,
he's such a good player. He's so underrated. I think this kid wanted to be a Knoll from the get, and that has nothing to do with it, honestly. He is so honestly underrated. Look at his numbers. Look at everything he does. Look at his body build. Just, oh my goodness. That kid should honestly be a high 4-star. I don't understand the way they do these rankings and everything. I'm a girl. I don't know. I'm just saying that kid is amazing. He is amazing. And please, give me some more of him. He really just that's just my 2 cents on that conversation.
There was that trio of him and Romanos, Federic, and Grimsley, and I thought he was the best out of the 3 coming out of the summer. Sorry, Chris.
No, you're good. I know exactly how they do it. I know exactly how they rank. I know the metric that they use. I understand the system. And I will tell you that it has more flaws than benefits. And that's just me being honest. When all you do is mimic something that started back early 2000s.
That's it.
And all you're doing is mimicking exactly what Rivals did, or even so before that. But the model that was mimicked by everyone was Rivals. The way Rivals used to do things was so the computer could do most of the work. This is during the BCS era where things were computer-less freaked. Like everybody wanted computer. So they put in a system that would tell you what this school ranking is or what this ranking is, their competition. The problem is they don't individually pull out what the player does against individual player. It's more so as what the team's doing and what that player did during that game. And it's a lot of mishaps because there's things that aren't seen that don't hit the stat board that you really love players for. Forced fumbles aren't shown. Not in their Rivals thing. So when he forces X amount of fumbles, that's not even talked about. And that changes the entire momentum of a football game. And Ricky had quite a few of those. There's a multitude of things that could be added and to make the system much better and more current. I think if they would take Catapult's information and pull that
Ooh.
and put it in, it would be much better. I'm working on that, by the way. But that's the idea of how you get accurate information down to the T, how fast this kid runs, blah, how many hits he made, how many hits he took, etc. There's so many things that you can look at that they don't talk about that would end up making the ranker greater or worse. Missed tackles.
Real data, not different from every camp, not spark here, there, that. Like, yeah, that'd be great.
My favorite is it has nothing to do with the kid. I think the kid's going to come in and be very good. And he's going to be good running back. I believe he's going to have impact. I absolutely love his mother. I like Miss Diana. I think it's Diana Carr. Make sure I said it right. She posted something on there. Like even though I'm a kind of a northern influenced Southern boy, and she posted that I don't eat fish, but it sounded delicious though. She had fried catfish, baked chicken wings, ribs, cornbread, collards, deviled eggs, and it was something else. And I was just like, man, give me a plate. I need a plate. And then she was just like, "Let's get a plate anytime." I said, "Ma'am, you are my favorite mama right now. Y'all come on over here. Y'all are all." She came by the tailgate. I'm pretty sure she'll be at the tailgate this year as well. And what I like is she is very much so Florida State through and through. I think the torch that Rob DeLoach has been carrying for the last forever years is going to be carried very, very well by Big Oots, DJU dad, Luke Cromerhog's dad, Miss Diana, all these different parents, and they're going to be able to come in and vibe with us. So a lot of good things going on with that, Nate, on that going on. So you know what?
Me and Jane could not agree more on that, by the way. So yeah. And I got to meet her at the spring game, and I think another game too during the year. She's awesome. I can't wait to hear her opinions and see her on the timeline.
Ricky Bobby,
I can't wait for the spring game, to be honest.
Yeah, Ricky Bobby on X said exactly what I was about to say. I was going to ask y'all who was the most underrated recruit that's coming in, and Jen already said who hers was, which is one of the more underrated guys. My most underrated guy is one that he put up there, and that's Danzy. I think that kid might end up being extremely special at Florida State.
I like Danzy a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Listen,
he's a one-cut runner. Like, he could really get his, I don't know. I think he can.
I'm going to be honest with you. Statistically speaking, the odds are very high of him being a very impactful player at Florida State. I mean, if you do your research, everybody who graduated from Florida High, who's gone to Florida State, has gone on to at least get a cup of coffee and some beignets in the NFL. So if you're going to bet on somebody being good, I would bet on Makai. Now, greater players than me, you've got Brandon Jenkins, who came out of Florida High, Martin Mayhew, who came out of Florida High, who is – I don't know what – Martin's a free agent now, so because I don't believe he's going to be with the Washington Commanders. I don't think he's with them anymore, but he's going to get picked up by somewhere because Martin is really, really good, and he stays with a job. But moving forward, just some things that we're going to do. Obviously, when we go to the NFL Combine, stay tuned to DIN Media Group. We will have a ton of information and interviews and different cut-ups of the former FSU players, and as well as other players who are valuable to the Big Three as we go up there. We'll be the only 2-4, none of them other places do that, so we'll be the only ones kind of following these guys. So stay tuned. We have some cool stuff that we'll put out. But one of the things that we've seen right now is obviously we see Willie Taggart is ascending in the NFL, he's one step away from the Super Bowl, and it's a cautionary tale for people just to always be careful about who you talk about, not as fans, the players.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
that's true.
players messed around and
I'm sorry. He's really one step away from the. I can't.
man.
Hang on. This is what I'm about to do with Willie Taggart. About to be one step away from. Look at this.
I ain't mad at it. I am not mad at it. The one
Jen
cool
Are we
said I'm on
serious?
one.
the thing
I'm
about
not doing
life
this.
that a
I'm
lot
not
of
doing
people
this.
don't realize is not about what you know. It's not about who you know. It's about who knows you. And what I tell people, what I learned is
Lord
Taggart
Jesus.
is a adopted son of the Harbaughs. Like he is so close to the Harbaughs, and it's crazy, man. So,
Lord Jesus.
but I say that to say is that there are some times where I think players don't understand and they get a little snippy and a little aggravated about what their roles were and with the coaches. But the NFL is it's what no matter if you're in an Omega Psi Phi as an African American, you're in with Phi Beta Kappa or some of this other stuff, Kappa. That no fraternity that you'll ever be a part of.
Dalvin Cook has to have a comment out there. There's got to be one out there. Dalvin Cook had to have said something.
Oh, Dalvin Cook probably. Dalvin Cook's living. Dalvin Cook is failing like Willie Taggart too.
Killing.
He was with the Jets. They were going. He should be at home on the beach. He got picked up at the right time.
Yeah.
But the NFL fraternity is crazy. So like when guys like as a fan base, I'm just encouraging you guys. When we're talking trash and y'all ask former players their opinion, please don't set them no traps. These people read this shit, and it always comes back. I told a young man, Keith Gavin, while you're laughing on this podcast, that man makes $5 million a year, and you don't make anything. So like, you want to get to where he's at, and again, he is a Harbaugh, and the Harbaughs are royalty in the NFL. So
yeah.
Just a PSA and just something for fans to be looking at as they're doing it. But as Champs 99 says, you're right. It doesn't have anything to do with Tag, but he is there. And he will. And I think they're going to actually I like the situation that they're going in. But I guess if nothing else, does anybody else have any other cool nuggets to add or anything else?
Just to let Bama know, be careful. They're about to fuck up with the NCAA.
Ohio State's next.
Yep. Be careful,
bro. Maybe this Rashada shit can touch down to Miami. Let's just get everybody to join the party.
Miami is
Miami's got a whole fucking host of problems that's about to happen to them.
Like
Miami's problems are federal. They're not NCAA. That's the issue.
They got some NCAA ones coming too. They got federal
probably, but what I'm saying is the federal problems are way worse than what the NCAA is about to do.
I love it.
All the
problems.
By the time 2024 is over, we're going to have a whole segment of sport. We're basically going to have a sports and courts. I hope my guy Rohan has go ahead and put out how much it costs or if Danielle Kelly wants to get back consistently in the game. We're going to have a lot of stuff that they could be talking about. So
for sure, February 16th is a date that a big court date to look at. So that's a week after signing day. So it'll be fun.
On that note, Chris, kind of tell people where you're at, how they can get, and how they can help, and how they can follow.
Right here on YouTube, go to Spear Addicts. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 interviews coming up with some really nice people, everybody that you would know. And then my 6th one, I'll just say that he's been mentioned in this video. He played at Florida State. And you can figure it out from there. I'm not going to announce it until I know. I know 100% he's coming. I just don't know what day.
I know Jen's going to be pissed when I tell her who it is.
And who he's bringing with him is, I might not be able to speak for the first time. I'll be honest.
What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? You can't do that to me.
I'll tell you after.
Yeah, I'm curious.
But yeah, it's really big. It's the biggest thing that I've ever done.
If it's Peter Work, I swear to God, I'm hanging up.
Well, you better get mad at James. P-Dub. What are you gonna do when P-Dub walks up at the door?
They're already like good friends with P-Dub. I done told you that.
I know. I mean, you know who my heroes are. So
Absolutely.
Hey, James, I did gotta tell you about Derek though. Brooks is coming back, I think for the spring game, and I told him about the tailgate, and he said that he knows that he'll make it. So
that'd
be big.
There's not a bigger swinging dick than him around Florida State's program at all.
In cowboy boots.
That's future president of Florida State right there, Derek Brooks.
Facts.
Okay, okay. If you have Derek Brooks, Chris, we're gonna have problems.
No, but I can get Derek, but no.
904, and he said he won't be able to get a word in. That ain't work done. Like work done.
Mark Ward out too. Not Greg Allen.
They're gonna make you work in that interview. Or Ward done and
he's from the 2013 national championship. Well, shit.
You done fucked up, Chris. That's right.
One of them.
You're gonna make him. If we keep going, we're gonna make him tell it. But you can find me and Jen at the Renegade Report. I know.
You have to tell me because I'm sorry, I don't like surprises. I'm not good at them. So you have to tell me
when it ends. When the show ends, don't leave, and I'll tell you.
Okay. I'll try.
Chris, D. Shaw said something about you never answered the question about Brown.
Which Brown?
Probably wanting to know if Devontae Brown is or isn't a PWO. There seems to be some confusion about this.
Okay,
someone tell me this.
Zach or somebody wrote that he wasn't, even though everybody else has been saying that he was. Maybe it wasn't Zach. I shouldn't have said a name, but somebody wrote that he isn't a PWO. He is a scholarship guy.
There's a big confusion. 247 released that Brown from Miami was a scholarship player. The people that I asked said that he was not, that he was a preferred walk-on. I don't know why 247 did that, not sure, but I'm going to still stick with my people that said no, he's a PWO. And that's where I'm going to stay until I'm told otherwise. But I'm going to have to go with he's not because they've told me like 3 times now that he's not. So
here's the thing about being a PWO. It's one, he's not paying for school. I can tell you that much. PWOs walk-on gets everything that, especially now with the food allowance now, I think with the NCAA change, they get everything the scholarship players get. They get the same gear. Like, that's why I always laugh when they're like, they're paying for your school and they're paying for your plane. Well, walk-ons that are on the travel squad fly too. Yep. They don't have to pay that. They don't pay for that. They don't have to pay for, the helmets and the shoulder pads and all those different things. Like, you get notable walk-ons where Deion Sanders was a walk-on. Now, he wasn't a walk-on because he wasn't good enough. He was a walk-on because he was a professional athlete in another sport.
Right.
And you can play you can play another college sport. You just have to walk on and pay your own way. So that's basically what the PWI game is coming down to, which is why like Miami may keep all of those guys if they have them all on NILs. It's a lot of money. Like, that's a lot of money for them being a higher level private school. So Florida State, you can I think your scholarship legitimately gives you like $3,000, and it costs like $2,500 to go to the school a semester.
I wonder if out-of-staters get a break too. Like, if you brought a PW on from out of state, do they get that break in tuition?
They get more.
They're just
there you go.
More money. So it's a different thing. All a football scholarship is the maximum allotment of scholarship money that a university can give you. Like, it's nothing. Like, in theory, you could just be incredibly smart and everything will take care of itself. That's basically what we'll go from there. Follow my guy Jen and my guy George, my gal Jen at Renegade Report. They are 59 away from 2,000. Make sure we get them to that 2,000 mark today. You guys are going. What days do you guys go live?
Sundays, Tuesdays, and Fridays.
All right, Sunday, Tuesdays, and Fridays. Make sure you check out me tomorrow. Big Games BS, 9:30 ish. We'll be talking about what we talked about this weekend. We'll be talking about obviously some FSU things, the NFL weekends, a bunch of other topics I don't know off the top of my head. We're 500 subs away from 5,000, where we give away $500 on Tuesday. The live of Dope Boys will be Xavier Lee, former 5-star quarterback that committed to Florida State. We will talk. I have not talked to X in quite some time. I think this one will be really, really good, really exciting. He's got his life path has been pretty cool. He's very, 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 very humble. Going to be a good interview. And I am working on another one that will be extra, extra live. And I'm probably going to cut the free shit after that. So this one's going to be open to anybody. Everybody else, you got to be a member to be able to participate in the live and, and going from there. But all I'm going to say is, you feel me? You feel me. And if you feel me, then you probably know who that person is that I'm working on. We just talked the other day, and that's going to be live. But Jason O just asking, walk-ons apply for regular financial aid or academic grants? Does a player on a full academic scholarship count toward the 85 scholarship? No. Full academic scholarship does not count toward the 85. And you can't, everybody can apply. Actually, the way the laws are now, everybody can apply for regular financial aid and academic grants. It used to be the only thing you could get was Pell Grant. Now you can get Bright Futures. You can get Pell Grant. You could get so in theory, if you're Jeb Bush told me my future wasn't bright, so I didn't get Bright Futures.
Well, neither was his, by the way.
Yeah, that's George. Jeb actually was the smart one, I thought, but whatever, it doesn't matter. I didn't get it. I know that much. But if they have the 75% in the full Bright Future, so your academic, the tuition that's covered for the school, guys are now getting that full extra $2,500.
Man,
I got full.
When I saw you had to do the 500 hours of community service, I said, fuck it. I just stopped getting good grades. I was a salutatorian when I found that out. I said, I'm not going to college. Fucking 5 hours of community service. What the hell? Sorry, I
didn't go to school, so I didn't go to class, so that just wasn't my thing. I knew I wasn't going to get that, but you can get all of those different things, and nobody's charged. They charge now. What's wild is Maximus put this up here. Now, I know it from both ends because I started my career at Florida State as a walk-on. I got my scholarship 6 months into it. My mother every year got, for her taxes, got an itemized sheet for what the university paid for and all of these different things. So as a walk-on, I was not charged for shoulder pads, helmets, plane tickets, food, tickets to games, whatever they gave. I was never charged for that. As a scholarship player, I was charged for helmet, shoulder pads, shoes, plane tickets. All of those things were included in, I believe it was $57,000 was the value of my scholarship.
Stop.
And I did not get $57,000 a year. I got, which was even more highway robbery, I got $850 a month for housing.
Yeah.
And they paid for my dinner. And then now what we did like, though, in the summertime, that's when you got paid. Summertime, you go to summer session A and you get $1,200 for May, June, July. Then you don't have any scholarship check for August. You have your camp, you have your fall camp check. Then you start school in September and you get your first check the middle of September, and then the other stuff. And Loco, we never filed it. What the fuck are you talking about? I'm just telling you what she got. It doesn't mean she went there. It doesn't even matter. My mother was, again, as I said in this show, My mother didn't have a job my freshman, my senior year of college, my freshman, and my sophomore year. So, like, I'm just telling you, they send you these things that they pay for, but if you're not a scholarship player, that shit just gives you whatever. But and I guess you would know this too, Chris. I don't know. Does Trevor Jackson, excuse me, the new quarterback, does that improve our recruit rankings?
No,
Because he's only a walk-on.
correct.
But now if Amari Williams signs,
Yes,
then that does improve our
Yes.
rankings. Okay.
And how do we feel about him? How do we feel about him?
Williams.
Yeah.
Bring him in. He ain't gonna do that for us this year, but he's good.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean I think we're getting him. We're getting him.
Okay, that's what I was asking. Yeah.
When you ask people that are athletes, just so you know, when you ask people athletes, what do you feel about them? Or our first thing is what do they play like? So that's why I was confused. So don't knock me. I just as soon as you say that, I'm like, as far as a player, it's always that between the chalk is what matters to us. But no, as far as us getting him, I'm got him at 99.9% if you want a percentage. He's all but let the ink dry. I mean, it is what it is. So I'm happy with him. And yeah, he will. As a matter of fact, if you go and do the prediction rating, if you add him to this class, you'll jump 3 spots with just him.
Nice.
Awesome.
Well,
Talking about what Michigan was doing, that makes 24 us doing exactly what they did, but the year before they won the national championship. So I'm fine with it, baby.
Hey guys, I'm sorry. Something just absolutely crashed on my staircase, and I'm pretty sure it's my children. And I'm guessing.
Well, I hope everything's all right.
Oh, I'm sure it's fine. They're not crying. I need to go see what's broken. And I know that we're about to just wind this up. So I'm going to say good night. Let me go beat my kid. I mean, not beat my kids. I didn't mean that out loud. But I love all of you. Mwah. Y'all have a great night. Let me go take care of these absolutely insane children. They have been locked up. They have been locked up in a house for a week, and school is closed again tomorrow.
That's tough.
Well, you go handle that, Jen. We appreciate you for coming on.
Sorry, guys.
I appreciate everybody for chopping it up with us. We're actually in and now. I got to go get some chow before I got to go do the news tonight and talk about these NFL games that I did not watch. So we'll see you later, Jen. We'll see everybody else later. Check out Big Games BS tomorrow, 9:30. Make sure you 9:30-ish. Make sure you go check out me and Chris with Sporadics at 8 p.m. tomorrow night as well. Make sure you check out George. Go check out George or all of our lives, the replays from today. Check out George on Tuesday as well. And then we'll all be on Mark Rogers on Wednesday. See you guys later.
Facts. Go Noles.